Good evening and welcome to Connections with Kenyatta Collins. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate each and every one of you that takes the time to spend an episode with me. This is why it is important to me that I strive to effectively bring you weekly up-to-date news stories from our communities. On today's episode, you'll see my in-depth conversation with the person who is responsible for Connections being all that it is today. Hear about his future plans and what's next for his production company. Plus, meet a man who once was on the other side of life but now has regained his position into this revolving world. All of that and so much more when we return to Connections with Kenyatta Collins. We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Pastor Leo D. Cyrus, inviting you to share with us in our worship services. New Hope continues to do God's work in our community through weekly worship services and Bible studies. Our ministry has several outreach programs that serve the people of our community. Come be a part of our church family. We'd love to have you.
Meet Tim Wilkinson, a native of Baton Rouge.
I'm from Glen Oaks.
Did you go to school in Glen Oaks?
Yes, I did. I graduated from Glen Oaks High. From Glen Oaks High, I actually went to Southern University. And, you know, like most people who walk onto Southern University's campus as a freshman, it's, it's big, it's, you know, it's different, it's freedom to some degree. And I didn't take that very well. It didn't work for me very much.
Like some, Tim discovered college wasn't for him, so he soon decided to drop out.
And so while I was enrolled in school, I wasn't really applying myself. And ultimately, that helped lead to my downfall.
Tim decided to march to the beat of his own drum.
I was young, I was just out of school, I was working, and I wanted freedom. I didn't really want to obey the rules in my mom's house. And that was an issue, you know, and you know, I decided one day that, hey, I don't want to be here anymore. I want to do this on my own, you know, which a lot of people do. And
from there, he went on a path that would ultimately lead to his downfall.
There came a time when things got really tight. There was a set of circumstances just kind of worked against me, and things got really, really, really tight. And somebody that I knew from Glen Oaks, he came to me and he said, listen, man, I need your help. And he said, well, look, I have this idea. Let's go do this. And his idea was to go and rob a business. We did it. It was easy. It was quick. Dare I say that it was fun.
Tim Wilkinson spent over 16 years incarcerated, but found the true meaning of success upon his release in 2015.
A good friend then reached out to Tim with a great opportunity.
I told Nelson what had happened. He said, well, man, my mom had just mentioned the other day she wanted to know if you might want to, come to Baton Rouge. And I had previously came to Baton Rouge, on the weekends to do some small stuff for Miss Gail. And she really, she embraced me, and she told me, she said, if you want to come to Baton Rouge, work for me, come work for me. I'll make sure that I make this transition as easy as I possibly can for you. And that's what she did. When I came to Baton Rouge, she helped me 100% get settled and situated to where I could kind of try to rebuild my life.
It was that offer that put him on the road to success.
I worked for Yale for about a year, and then I left Yale to go and work for State Representative C. Denise Marcel. I worked for her as a legislative assistant for a year, and then shortly after that, Ms. Ray had some trial stuff coming up, and she needed some help with investigations, so forth and so on. And so I came back to work for her.
Currently, Tim works full-time at the East Baton Rouge Council on Aging.
I accepted a job about 2 weeks ago, and I'm very, very, very delighted to be there. My title there is, I'm actually I'm a care manager, but I also assist with the food pantry. The Council on Aging they have a big responsibility on their shoulders, and that's to take care of the seniors, and it's a very, very good feeling, being able to help the seniors with getting groceries, getting the things that they need to help them survive. Maybe, even sometimes, we do assessments on whether or not, they qualify for certain housing or transportation or whatever their needs are. And I've been privy to be able to assist with some of those, and I'm thankful for the experience.
When asked what's next, Tim said,
"Right now, I'm planning on going to school at night. I need to do that because I didn't finish. And my mother is after me, and I'm after myself for it. And, it's something that I want to accomplish for me, because if I had done that, 20 years ago, 21 years ago, maybe I wouldn't have been in the situation that I ultimately ended up in. So I want to finish school. I definitely want to do everything I can to help those people that are still in prison and help them come home."
When asked if he had any regrets, Tim replied,
I wish that I would not have made some of those poor decisions that I made back then. I wish that I wouldn't have affected so many people, whether it's family, friends, or total strangers, the way I did with the decisions that I made. But I'm happier with the outcome today than I've ever been.
For Connections, I'm Kenyatta Collins.
Staff and faculty treated my kids like they were their own.
Shiloh is a place where, your kids can come and be themselves.
The staff is very open to things that the parents have to say.
To enroll your child in Shiloh's Early Learning Academy, call 225-343-4734.
Ring in the new year with New Hope Baptist Church, Greater Mount Olive, and Second Baptist as these three churches come together for one unforgettable night of praise and worship. Come out and be a part of this special worship experience.
I don't think you'd believe me if I told you about all of the things that are required when producing an episode of Connections. This isn't a one-woman show. It takes a team. And this team is led by someone that I consider a close friend, but also a mentor in this news media field. Good evening and welcome to Connections with Kenyatta Collins. Each and every week you get to enjoy an exciting episode, and today is no different. You don't know what goes on behind the scenes and what all it takes in the production of Connections. Joining me on today is the producer and the man behind the scenes himself, Terrence Turner. Welcome.
Oh, well, thank you for having me.
It wouldn't be right if I did not have the man himself on my show.
Well, I'm used to being on the other side of things, so, it's a little different for me, but I'll see how good I can do.
For those that didn't know, Connections is produced by Mad Game Entertainment, and Mad Game Entertainment is what you've built, right? Your empire.
Well, I don't know if I would describe it as an empire per se, but it is a production company that I started, I guess about 10 years ago, and since then we've produced different television programs, Connections being one of them. Currently The Late Shift with Will Merrill. We produced 7 seasons of the sketch comedy show Laugh Now, Laugh Later. And right now we're in production for a short film series that we're doing. So just trying to expand a little bit, do different things, and show that you can do different productions here locally as well too.
You talked about your productions now, that sketch comedy. Tell us about that.
Laugh now, laugh later. Well, that was something that kind of I guess jump started us doing different productions. Because before then, we were mainly kind of doing commercials for clients, religious programming, things of that nature, and that was the first time that we kind of ventured off into something a bit different. And the main focus was that program was to shine a light on the talent that's in the city, and have a different type of program. Up until that point, the only local programming that you had that wasn't religious programming was maybe like a video music show, something like that, or maybe like a talk show here or there, but nothing out of the norm. And we wanted to do something different and show that Baton Rouge had comedians and actors here that could display their talent and be just like what you see on other shows like the famed Saturday Night Live or Live in Color or Mad TV, programs like that. But we wanted to show that we can produce that locally and show people that you don't have to always follow that old playbook of moving out to Los Angeles, being homeless for 5 years, and then you make it. That's always the kind of like the cliche thing that people do. Okay. And we wanted to show that you could actually, with technology, bring the views to you and show them that we can produce something different.
Now, with that sketch comedy, there's a lot of local talent involved with that.
It was.
Who are some of the persons that have worked with you with Laugh Now, Laugh Later?
Will, for one. Will came on like in the middle of season 1. And he came on, it was a funny story because he actually was filling in for someone who was originally supposed to be in this sketch that we had written, and he filled in for the person. And from there, I was like, I saw him do stand-up maybe like once before then, and at the time I was kind of hosting it, but I was always more comfortable behind the scenes. So I was like, hey, why don't you start kind of hosting Laugh Now, Laugh Later as well too? But Will Merrill was on there, and not only was he acting, he was also writing. The concept of the show came from myself and Alexander Scott. We kind of was sitting around, kind of discussing different things to do. And originally it was supposed to be like a sketch comedy movie. And it transformed into like a television program. But Alex was heavily involved with in front of the camera. If a lot of people don't know that Alex is a very gifted and talented actor. He's professionally trained. He went to school for acting, but he also is a very brilliant writer as well too. So he was behind the scenes as well as in front of the camera. A lot of people have been on the show. Howard Hall has made appearances on the show. Carissa Cropper has appeared on the show. Let me see who else. Jeff Buck is another comedian that appeared on the show. It's a plethora of people that have been on the show. Stanley White, Byron Wade, Johnny Jones, Marcus Lawless.
Johnny Jones as in the AC guy?
As in the AC guy, okay. As in Johnny Hustle. He came aboard on the show as well too. Casey Bird, who she's one of the top estheticians in the city as well too.
From Phoenix Air.
From Phoenix Air Spa. Okay. And she's also worked a lot behind the scenes with a lot of the projects that we do as well, as being a producer, casting director, and actress on the show. So it's been a lot of people. Many people may have heard of. Maybe they didn't hear of them in that facet of being an actor or on screen. But it's been probably like over 30 people that have been on the cast of the show. You were actually on the show as well before too.
So Laugh Now, Laugh Later. It's a sketch comedy that you just have to check out. So where can we see those episodes?
Season 6 and season 7 are actually on the website madgameent.com. That's one of the easiest places to get them. And then they just have the individual sketches that are on the YouTube channel, which is Mad Game on Demand.
Oh,
So that's
Okay.
Yeah, that's the name of the YouTube channel. So, you know, anytime you want to kind of go back and look at some of the stuff, you know, there's a lot of content on those platforms.
Okay, so switching gears, you mentioned that Mad Game also produces local television, local Sunday morning broadcasts.
Yeah, we produce a couple of different religious programs as well too. And that's always the challenge with that is before we started doing that, religious programs were kind of like just straightforward, you know, just kind of come on and you know it's just there, and the shows didn't have personality. And I always look at things like this. If I'm watching something, I want it to feel like I'm actually watching a real television program.
Right.
You know, people brand things. Well, it's like it's a real program, but I want people to feel like it's a quality production, where it's like you really want to tune in for this and you really want to see it, as opposed to oh it's just on and I'm just flipping the channels. So what we try to do with the programs we produce, A Time of Harvest, the Worship Experience, and End Time Ministry is just a few of the religious programs that we produce. But you know, we want to make sure that they're branded properly and produced them properly.
Branded and produced properly. So if you have a business or an organization and you would like to promote that, Mad Game Entertainment is a full production company that can take care of that. So I encourage you to reach out to them. Trendsetters, you want to be a part of it. Something else you did not know, that Terrence and I are really great friends, and Connections is my baby, of course, but there's a reason behind why Connections is so near and dear to me. And that's because you too have a background in TV media. So you understand, you know, you saw the need for Connections that was needed to be on TV, and you stepped right in, and I just can't thank you enough.
Well, yeah, and I mean, my background is, you know, I've worked in news as well. And one of the things that, you know, just being in different newsrooms, you notice that certain stories, they get pushed to the side, you know. And part of the problem with news, nationally and locally, there are not people who look like you and I in positions to push a story, you know. Most of the producers, the executive producers, the directors, the people who really call the shots as far as what hits the air and what doesn't, what's a story and what's not, what's newsworthy and what's not. You know, they don't have the same experiences as us, and they're not, you know, we're not in the room to push that button to say this is something that's important. And you know, you and I had a conversation about, you know, news media in general and what's lacking. And a lot of the things that lack, especially locally with news, is a lot of stories just go overlooked. There's a lot of positivity that's in the community that goes overlooked. You know, we all know with news, if it bleeds, it leads. Mm-hmm. That's the saying that goes. But news doesn't have to be all about crime. And I feel like if you're going to cover crime, that, you know, that is a necessity. It's not that you need to neglect if there's a crime that's been committed. But we need to have more balance in news. So if you're going to certain communities and you're picking them as far as there was a crime on this street, well, if right down the street there's something positive going on, show the balance and cover that as well too. Don't just go to these communities when there's something bad happening. Go to them when there's something good happening too. That's how you reinvest in that community. But if I just go to you and I just feed off of you this community because it's crime ridden, you know, because, you know, a crime happened on this street and it happened on this street again, it happened on this street again. But on that same street, it could be a local business that you might just want to highlight. It might be someone that's doing something within the community that you might want to highlight. And that shows the balance. And there's a great imbalance in the community as far as news is concerned. So that's where, you know, Connections kind of came in, and you were telling me the concept of what you wanted to do. You wanted to highlight different things in the community that maybe go overlooked. And I was all for that.
You are all for that. And 2 seasons in, and here we are. What a blessing. Mad Game Entertainment, aside from the sketch comedy, the productions, what do you like to do in your spare time?
What do I like to do in my spare time? Well, I enjoy producing things, so it kind of runs hand in hand with me. I never really consider what I do work because I really enjoy it. I enjoy creating different things, so this is always fun for me. Yes, there are long nights, there are long days, sometimes there are very stressful days, but at the end of the day, I thoroughly enjoy producing things like Connections and like the other different projects that we have going on. So that's a fulfillment to me. I'm like anyone else. I like to watch movies, read a book. Yes, I do still read books, and I enjoy hard copy books. I think everything is, we live in a digital age, but everything doesn't have to be digital. So I'm still the guy that goes to Barnes and Noble and buys books as well.
Speaking of books, Ambition magazine.
Yeah.
Ambition magazine graced our presence, was it summer 2017?
18.
2018. Summer 2018. And we still have copies available for those of you that, would like to see that. You have to check it out. Mr. Mad Game Entertainment himself, the man, the legend. I could go on and on and on about this man, but he told me not to stroke his ego. So I'm not going to stroke his ego, but I will tell him from my heart to his, thank you for all of your hard work. Thank you for your dedication. And thank you for being a friend and opening doors and avenues for people like me who have so much creativity bottled up that we just don't know where to put it at times, and then you step in and just have a clear path of direction. So I thank God for placing you on this earth. I thank you for your existence, for your presence, and I look forward to working with you more and more. Every week I work with him, so.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And just to kind of add to what you said, I mean, the thing that we have to continue to push for is we have to be able to control our own destinies, You were telling me, even before we started the show, is that you wanted to, you had a passion for news and you really wanted to be a reporter. And, news stations may, again, overlook people who have a talent. And we need to have our own media so that it's someone on the other side of that desk that can say, you know what, I do see something in you and let's go for it. But to have doors closed because you don't fit a certain mold that they may be looking for, whether it be externally, whether it be, where you didn't go to this particular school. You had a 4-year degree just like someone else has a 4-year degree. But if we don't have control over what we can do, then we're always going to be lacking. So that was also part of the motivation with getting Connections started with you, is that we could have our own voice so we can control, our own narratives. For too long, black people's narratives are defined for them, and we're given footnotes of what we should feel and what we should care about. And we have to start getting in front of our own narratives. And that's what, part of what Connections serves. So, you're doing a great job.
That means a lot coming from you, that I'm doing a great job. Thank you so much for joining me on today.
No problem.
This has been a pleasure, a great interview. I enjoyed it.
Oh, I'm glad I could oblige.
Thank you. We'll be right back. There's more. Stay tuned for Connections with Kenyatta Collins.
Hello, I'm Dr. Gerard Robinson Sr., pastor of the McEwen Baptist Church, and I want to invite you and your family to join the McEwen family in our worship experience. We have a number of ministries and outreach programs that's sure to strengthen your walk with Christ. I'm asking you to take the next step in your walk with Christ by joining us at the McEwen Baptist Church. We look forward to seeing you there.
Are you suffering from substance abuse? Has your addiction taken over your life and left you defeated? Don't give up hope. The New Hope Outpatient Substance Clinic can help you achieve abstinence from addiction. Call 225-926-7911 today and begin your journey towards a better life.
With the rise of racism and peace being taken from the world, it leaves a person to wonder, what's going on in the world? Sadly, these things are not going away. Read The Dog Whistleblower to find the link between racism and the coming Armageddon.
Ring in the new year with New Hope Baptist Church, Greater Mount Olive, and Second Baptist as these three churches come together for one unforgettable night of praise and worship. Come out and be a part of this special worship experience.
Now it is time to say goodbye, but only until next week. In the meantime, in between time, be sure to like, share, and follow me on all social media platforms, Connections with Kenyatta Collins. I appreciate you for tuning in today. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you next week with an all-new exciting episode of Connections. Have a good one.